Hey now everybody, welcome to DDO Players News, where we take a look at the latest in the worlds of Dungeons & Dragons Online, the tabletop, and beyond. I'm your host tonight, Drac. Might notice I have a guest, and you might notice you can see me. This is weird. Hey, this is our community manager, Cordovan. He's right there.
Hello.
Hey, thanks for coming on. This is the first video DDO Players News podcast. I thought we would try this. We'll see how this works. So
I made you go on camera. Now you're making me go on camera.
Exactly. That's right. Exactly. Yeah. So if this does not come out on YouTube with video, you'll know things went horribly wrong. And I was like, well, that was a fun experiment. But here we are. So yes. So we'll see how this goes. Let me know what you think. I am not an expert in this in the least bit, but it's fun. So how you doing?
I'm doing great. It's been a busy week. But,
it has.
It's been a nice weekend. So.
And I apologize that I found out all of these stuff you went through this week. And then I'm like, hey, you want to come on the show? And you're like, sure. And then I'm like, oh, man, this is a bad week.
Yeah, well, in the world of Dungeons & Dragons Online, though, it's been real nice. So.
It has. Big news in that, and we're going to talk about that right now. We have Update 72. That brought some fun stuff. The 19th anniversary is one part of that. We're going to talk about that in a minute. We're going to save that, though. Big thing, I think, is Year of the Dragon, the free Dragon Disciple. That is out on the servers now.
Yeah, it's a free new class archetype that you can just apply to your account by speaking to a dragon named Zatharol in the Eberron Hall of Heroes. And you've got, I'd have to relook up our deadline on that, but it's something like March 25th, right?
That sounds right. And that is the dragon monk archetype, basically, I guess is the easiest way. What do you think how that's going so far? I know I've seen a lot of people playing them.
Yeah, every time we release a new class archetype, people are just going to want to play it to check it out, and we've seen a nice response to that. How it all fits into the meta, I think, is yet to be determined. We tend to like to see what the community can do with that too. We try to create a framework and see where it goes. So while we know that we made it as a monk class archetype with a focus on sort of SLAs, and attenuation with like dragon style abilities and breath attacks and things like that, the community will often find ways to integrate it into the sort of build infrastructure of the game in a way that goes beyond that. So I think we're maybe a little too much in the early days to see if that happens or how that happens, but at the very least we certainly have plenty of people playing a Dragon Disciple Monk right now, so fun times. And
I have never played a monk, and I'm kind of tempted to roll one of these up just to see, because I like the changes and the different play style. So I think, okay, this might get me to play a monk possibly.
I have not. I have to admit, I myself have not played a monk in many years. I played a monk back in the 2010s. I both a quarterstaff wielding monk, and also I was using at that time some kind of Kama thing, which I know is Kukri. It was a Kukri build where you were doing some weird proficiency where you could use your Kukri as something else. I remember there was a variation of the kind of build meta at that time that was sort of a hype thing to do. So I did, but that was really when I played my monk, was in the 2010s at some point, and so it's been quite some time since it was a main focus of my class.
And speaking of the monk, we also have some monk changes as well. That's the other big thing with this update. I would think probably the biggest part of this update was all of the monk changes, and there are a ton of those monk changes as well.
The release notes is really the place to go to get that information, because it does go into a lot of detail, probably more than typically you're going to get into, in verbal form.
Right.
It's a lot of reading.
Right. It is a lot, and I will link that in the show notes as always. So you can, if you have not looked at those yet. Is there any big highlights you think people should know? This is the big part of the monk change?
Sure. The main things I would point out is that the combo system has gone away, and the special abilities that were interspersed throughout the combo system have been brought largely into the enhancement trees as well, and you can find out how that all meshes in the release notes to, find them in the tree of choice and things like that. And the light and dark is a little different as well. It'll open up some different paths in your enhancement tree, but is a little less of a split, of a binary split at a fundamental level of the monk class than it used to be. We also have allowed Quivering Palm to use Strength as its DC.
Okay.
The highest. So it'll be the highest of Strength, Dexterity, or Wisdom. Same with Stunning Fist will now use Strength, Dexterity, or Wisdom. And there's a bunch of more granular stuff as well. We do have the Ninja Spy with a lot of changes, the Shin Tao with a lot of changes, and the Henshin Mystic all with a lot of changes. And then the addition of the Dragon Disciple monk, which has its own enhancement tree that you can find in the release notes.
It's a big change, and it's very lengthy release notes too. Like I said, over on the show notes for this episode, you will find all of that.
I could point out that Dragon Disciple monks are in fact spellcasters as well. They have a very limited sort of spellcasting pool in terms of points and slots, but they do get that. And then they also do have a lot of their power in sort of SLA style form as well. Okay.
All right. Interesting. So yeah, like I said, go check out the complete notes. Also the forums. I know a lot of talk on the forums about this stuff as well, so I will link that in the show notes. Also, reincarnation, those changes have been made. That's to the true reincarnation system. Basically, it's some XP changes. What kind of brought that on?
We wanted to make it easier to get the first couple of lives done for your classes. This was based on long-term community feedback, and we saw an opportunity to kind of ease up on that restriction recently, and so we were able to make that happen. So it used to be that your first life had X amount of XP. It was 1.9 million XP to get to level 20, and then that would go up from your second and subsequent lives. Your second life would be 2.8 mil, subsequent would be 3.8, and so we're changing it to what was that first life of 1.9 is now what you need for your first, second, third, and fourth lives. And so it isn't until you get to 5, 6, and 7 that you get up to 2.8, and then after 7 lives is when you go up to 3.8. So instead of really being starting with your second life, the penalty kicks in, it really isn't until your 5th life, and then you don't have what used to be the highest level penalty until your 8th.
Okay, so yeah, so that...
And a lot of people, there's a lot of people who are like, what, 8 lives? Are you kidding me? 8 lives? We have a lot of players that do that.
Oh, yeah.
We also have plenty of players who don't do that, but certainly don't mind reincarnating just to get a few benefits anyway when they decide to play a different class or something like that.
Right.
So I think especially that group there that is perhaps a little less hardcore about racking up past lives will see the biggest benefit from this, because your future trek to level 20 will be much easier for quite a while, really.
And all I'm saying is more power to the people. I barely have like 2 past lives, and I'm just like, how do people have like 8, 9, 10, 11 multiple past that? Good on you.
There's a whole bunch who are like 30 plus.
I know,
30 plus. Yeah,
that is insane to me. But like I said, good on you people. Like you are my heroes right there. I strive to play like you one day, but holy crap, that's not me.
However, this may also invite a whole bunch of people, because if one of the big reasons you weren't doing is like, I don't want to have to earn more XP.
Right.
Well, you don't have to.
It's a big slug, yeah.
5.
Right.
You can do your first 4 lives on your regular XP chain.
That's kind of excites me, because where I'm starting to play with the past lives, and I'm like, I can at least get to 4 fairly easy, I think. And then
get someone now, bring them True reincarnate him to level 1, make him a dragon disciple, go through that
Oh,
life.
yeah, see? Hey, there you go.
Want to do that, right?
There you go. Now is the perfect time. Exactly. I like that idea. Then some other little small things. Party Crashers it has some adjustments to improve performance. Sounds like several of the rooms had their layout and lighting further modified. This has been like an ongoing thing you guys have been working on.
I have to admit, I've been out of touch because I went in there on this most recent live stream and it looked a lot different than I expected, to be honest, because I've been focusing on other things.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh yeah, they moved around House Fjarland's Party Crashers a bit just to help with performance. And I was like, okay. I didn't realize that we totally redid that space, basically.
The anniversary event, too, yeah. It's like, because the first time I went to, which we'll talk about here in a second, but the first time I went to the anniversary event, I was like, I don't know where to go. I don't know what this place is. Like, where's everything? Like, I used to be able to go, you go here, you go here, you go here, you go here. And now I'm like, we'll just run around and try to find people.
A few times, so you'll get it.
Yeah, oh, yeah, yeah. We've finally got it down. Now we're just like we can just run it, no problem. Several other things, nothing I don't think to jump out exciting unless there's anything else. And then the little miscellaneous notes you think we should talk about.
No, I think it was really a lot of bug fixes.
Yeah, that's.
I would mention. Well, you're going to be getting to what's next here in a little bit. So yeah.
So let's talk, since we talked about the anniversary dungeon and how it was changed, let's just talk about the anniversary. 19 years. Our little DDO is 19 years old. That is amazing.
Yeah, yeah. It's amazing as well when you think about how the industry itself 19 years ago perhaps would never have predicted that we're in this position we're in today. I think even though there had certainly been online video games and big online fantasy video games and all that too, right?
Right.
Video was not the first by any means. The idea of, and 19 years later, still going strong, I don't know that people would have expected that. And yet we're here.
Probably not.
Still doing it.
Still exactly.
Great content. Still
exactly
doing our best for everyone. So
making new content, fixing old content, keeping it going. So yeah. So now through March 11th. So you'll have a couple more days after this episode drops. I'm hoping I'll get this out either. We're recording this Saturday night. I'm hoping either Sunday or Monday I'll have this up. So you'll still have a few hours to take part on this. Plus 19% heroic and epic XP, guild renowned, Reaper XP, and crafting XP. And the only thing I can say about this is I am sorry to the dev that had to figure out what is 19%.
I helped put together this list, and we had to go to someone who actually does the work and be like, can you do 19% Reaper XP? Is there a value that makes it, or are you going to be trying to figure out what 1/10 of a ninth is or something like that, right? So, yeah, so
that just seems like some crazy math. Well, yeah. And did they just look at you like, are you crazy? Like what? 19?
I think they were expecting it.
Oh, well, I mean, it makes sense. So, additionally, through the 11th, it's Champion Hunter Week as well. So, the mysterious remnant vendors in the Hall of Heroes. So, go get your goodies with all of your remnants that are clogging your bags like mine. I need to turn mine in.
Yeah, it's a good time. You can get some. It takes a while. It's a lot of widgets to get the thing, but you can get those nice tomes and everything. There's good stuff. So
then you get a free gift. Talk to the Djinn in House P, and you get the 19th anniversary scarf. And then
a buff.
And a buff,
it also is a buff. That's the one thing that's different this year. Every 6 hours, you can get a 10% increase to your chance to get named loot from chests that normally contain name loot. And after that 6 hours is done, you can go back to the genie and do it again. So
And then,
if you really want to min-max it, you can wait until just before the worlds go down at 9 a.m. on whatever day that is, on the 18th or whatever, and then go speak to the genie and then log out, and then you'll have an extra 6 hours even with the world property. If you really want to min-max your 10% loot, let me give you a little hack there of sorts.
See, there you go. You heard it here. That's a great idea, actually. And then that Djinn buff does boost with the Elixirs of Discovery too, correct? I thought I read that. Okay.
Yep, it's designed to specifically, yeah.
Okay. I thought so. And then, of course, the Anniversary quest is back, and as we said before, it's totally different now. It's the layout is different, everything is different. I won't spoil it for those that haven't read it yet, but there's some new people in there to find as well. Some new guests, as it were. So check that out. But yeah, it's way different.
Yeah, it's nice to see us be able to give it another, kind of look at the space and update like that, because, it had been in the position it had been in for quite some years.
And I love the fact, too, that you guys can do that. And it's kind of like it's an odd quest, but it's a fun quest. And it's kind of like a fourth wall breaking quest in a way. And it's kind of like very meta and very insider baseball a little bit. So it's really fun. That, I think, is one of the coolest events in DDO, just how like quirky it is.
Yeah, it is. It is. Here's how meta it gets. You'll see outside of the fight for Cordovan that there's Coil there, and that's because my initial suggestion of what to do this year to defeat Cordovan was just talk to him and tell him to go to sleep like Coil. You wouldn't even have to fight him this year. And so I think that's why they put him outside of there, although I don't know that for sure, because I didn't even notice it until I got in there and was like, oh...
I saw Coil there, yeah. I saw Coil there, and I'm like, why is Coil here? Okay, all right, whatever. Okay, that's funny. That's hilarious.
It works, I think, because it is a celebration of our anniversary.
Right.
It is limited in duration to only being around for our anniversary. Clearly, this isn't the kind of thing that I think you would normally do during any of your storytelling, outside of something specifically like this, which is a celebration and a chance to have fun and earn some widgets and get new rewards and treat it like a festival-style event. So.
Exactly, but yeah, it is so fun. So there you go. Happy 19th anniversary to DDO.
And of course, D&D has had a long history of kind of occasionally breaking the wall. Think about like Land Beyond the Magic Mirror and things like that.
That's a good point. I didn't think of. Yeah, okay. So there you go. Is there anything else in the world of DDO you would like to discuss?
Sure. This week we're going to be releasing our new raid.
Okay.
This is something that was originally targeted for around the release of Update 72, and we needed to give it just a few extra weeks to get some work done on it. But we've done that work, and so we're ready to release it. And so this Wednesday we're going to have a new raid that is just going to be free. It's available to everyone in all the worlds, but it's also a story cap for the Lanterns in the Mists event for those who have been playing on Cormyr, earning their durability on their lanterns and being involved in that, kind of little event process itself. The storyline caps off with this raid, which it ties directly into the Lanterns in the Mists, and really brings the Lanterns in the Mists event to a story closure. And that's in part why we're releasing it now, because through April 15th is when the Lanterns in the Mist event is going to continue, after which point it goes away. The raid's going to stick around, but it's a free raid, and we're releasing it for this, and we are bringing it to all the worlds besides just Cormyr, because hey, why would we do that?
Right, that would be kind of silly. It would.
You don't get it, Argo, just cause.
Right.
Just cause.
You got to go over here to do this, right?
Yeah.
And then I know Axel did a video on it when it was on the Mania. That Hydra looks amazing. That's
right.
Yeah.
Okay, well, if we've gotten that much in the spoilers,
Hydra fight. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, it's Do you know how that came about? Like how the Hydra came about?
A lot of work.
I've
been working on getting that Hydra fight put together for a while, not just because it's awesome for this, but because the ability to do this lets you do a whole bunch of other things in the future as well, right? So, yeah, a lot of work is really the answer.
Yeah.
When you look at things like, say, the way we did the Lolth fight in the past, or even perhaps the Althun or something like that, versus the way we're able to do the Hydra, I think is pretty interesting.
So, there you go. And you said that's coming Wednesday?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So look for the new raid, all you raiders. And then, if you don't have anything else, we do have some store sales to talk about. These are running through March 13th. So once again, you have a little bit of time once this episode drops. You can get 25% off select marks, crafting success boosters, Cannith essences, and collectible crates. That is all through the 13th. And you can get the free weekly coupon code, which is a negative level potion. Five of those.
That's the thing that really matters, by the way, in these sales. I mean, there's a whole bunch of things.
Yes.
But if you don't pay attention to any of this, at least redeem this coupon, because you'll get 5 free negative levels reduced. So if you're going through a dungeon or something, you got a negative level, you can be like, you can just chug in.
Which I could have used one of those last night when I was playing. Yeah. that coupon code is B positive, BEPSOITIVE, B positive. Also through the 13th. So, like I said, if you don't have anything else for DDO, we can jump in.
Does not work if you're helpless. You do at least have to have a 1 on your stats, right, to be able to drink a potion. So.
Good point. I didn't think about that. But yeah, I said...
But you can wait around till that happens, and then you can chug the potion.
Good.
So.
You know what needs to happen in DDO, even though it might be kind of mean? We need the option to be able to force somebody to drink a potion sometimes. It's like, here, you can't do anything yourself. Yeah. I mean, that
actually makes a lot of sense.
That you can might be kind of mean, but yeah.
Well, you can, and there's reasons why you would want to.
Right.
For that kind of thing specifically.
That might be kind of
a good idea.
That might be kind of hard to implement, though, I would think.
Maybe.
Yeah. So, just a suggestion, I guess. All right, let's take a look in the world from the dungeon, see what's going on in the world of D&D and beyond. Unfortunately, we're going to start with some sad news that Ernie Gygax Jr. did unfortunately pass away last week. He had been sick for a little while and just couldn't beat. He had cancer, I do believe. So yeah, he just couldn't beat it. So I join the whole D&D community and say, we just think about his family and friends right now through this, because that just stinks. I never got to meet Ernie. Before I kind of like passed him he was at Gen Con one time, and I kind of passed him and I kind of said hello, and that was about it. I've never actually met him
me neither. Yeah.
Some of the other people, but yeah, so roll a d20 in his honor, I guess, next time you're sitting at a table. In happier news from D&D, we're getting a new starter set. The new version of D&D, call it D&D 5.5, D&D 2024, D&D 2025, whatever you want to call it. Hasbro WotC doesn't even really know what to call it. I think they're just calling it D&D 24, but this is specifically for the new version of D&D, and we're going back to the Borderlands, which is exciting. Yeah, it's kind of exciting.
We in Dungeons & Dragons Online use Keep on the Borderlands as a low-level zone, and levels like 1 to 3, and certainly the tabletop has often done that itself.
Yes, and it makes cool total sense.
Cool to see a neat new box looking here. Looks cool to me.
It makes sense. Then again, the cover should hopefully be on the screen right now if you're watching the YouTube video version of this. That cover's not final. I kind of hope they change that cover. I'm not digging the cover that much. It's just...
I can't say. I don't have an opinion on it.
But this is kind of an update on the famous keep on the Borderlands, which I think most people know. If you don't know it from tabletop, you'll know it from DDO, of course, because we got it. What is that? 2 years ago now, something like that.
Yeah, something
maybe.
Like that. Even longer than that, maybe.
So this is a little twist on that. You're going to get the Caves of Chaos. You're going to keep on the Borderlands, and then you'll get the Wilderness. And each of these are going to be guided to help you go. So, like, if you're a brand new DM, you've never DM'd before, this is going to hold your hand and tell you, okay, this is the best way to do this. This is how you bring your party into this to do this. There's
now that you're saying this, I'm looking at the art itself, and I have to say that, as a starter set, it needs to speak to people who don't really play D&D and explain itself to them. And so the idea of, okay, wizard, warrior, some kind of armored wizard thing, etc., that without knowing.
Right.
Dragons. Okay, so this is like a thing where I can fight dragons with a sword and cast magic spells and stuff. And so I think, the art has to do more than just be a cool looking piece of art. I think it needs to explain itself to the potential buyer of a starter set. And perhaps that, when I look at that art, I can understand sort of where it's come from and why it exists how it does.
Right. Like I said, I'll be honest, I don't think if I saw that on the shelf, I don't think I'd be like, ooh, that looks neat. I'd just be like, oh, okay. A dragon, a wizard, a warrior. Okay, cool. I don't know. It's just something about the art, and I can't really put my finger on it and say what I don't like about it. It just, I don't know. There's just something, but hopefully that'll change. This is coming out September 16th. It's the expected date on this. They are saying the estimated retail price going to be $50 on this starter set. It's going to be chock full of stuff. You're going to, of course, get characters. You'll have pre-made characters. You get maps. This will be integrated into D&D Beyond as well. So if you have a D&D Beyond account, it'll be integrated into that, so that's another way that people could jump into as well. Like, if you can't get a group together in real life, you can jump on like Fantasy Grounds or whatever and do it. They say they are looking at, which I'm not sure why they said looking at, because this is going to happen. Their virtual tabletop that they have called Sigil, they said they are going to look at integrating that with that. That's going to happen. I mean,
it would make sense.
Yeah, it would totally make sense for them to do that. So, September 16th for the new starter set. So there you go. And
I remember over the years with D&D, the starter set, we always bought the starter set even if we had the books.
Yep. Oh, yeah. Oh, me too.
And it was usually because the starter set came with some of the cool widgets, like a screen maybe, or that's where you get the cool dice, or that's where you would get the free module, or close to free module, or whatever it ended up being, right?
Right.
And so it's always been fun to see the starter set continue for D&D, and it's neat. So
we look forward to...
I'm assuming they won't have a crayon where you're drawing in on the dice.
That would be kind of awesome if they would. That would be a great throwback, but I guess we'll see what they do about that. Yeah. Also, not only is it DDO that's returning to Ravenloft, there's a new novel where you're going to be able to return to Ravenloft as well. It's called The Heir of Strahd. This is coming from Penguin Random House. This is going to have a ragtag group of adventurers that are thrown into the mist of Ravenloft, and they are lost and disoriented, and they must navigate the nightmarish landscape and form a pact and try to figure out how to get home. It's not just about battling the monsters of Ravenloft, though. They kind of battle each other, and they got to learn how to become a party, because they're a group of strangers that are just thrown together. This was written by Delilah Dawson. She's best known for her Star Wars books. I guess she's done a lot of Star Wars. I've never read any of the Star Wars novels, but she's a very prolific Star Wars author. This is available for pre-order now. This will be coming out in just a couple months. May 13th actually is the release date on that. Look for a review of this, and possibly I might be doing an interview with Delilah Dawson, the author, as well.
I was wondering, I don't see a the, so it's Ravenloft, Heir of Strahd.
Yeah.
Not Heir of the Strahd.
Yeah, Heir of Strahd, yeah.
Right. Because I was like, wait a second, Heir of...
Yeah, oh, yeah, I noticed I didn't...
Heir of Strahd, yeah.
I didn't notice,
cool.
I had a typo in there, but yeah. And I got a pre-release PDF of this, or not PDF, but ebook, and I'm like 3 chapters in, and it's really good. it's really good. Fun. Yeah,
Looks
it's a fun read, and I'm telling you, you get right into it in chapter 1. I mean, it starts out, minor spoilers here, they get transferred over to Ravenloft, and it's on right then. Like, something happens, and it's just like there's no time to figure out, like, okay, well, what's going on here? Like, we're like, okay, we got to figure this out.
It's like when you first get there for the tabletop night, and the DM is like, all right, roll for initiative.
exactly You're like, wait, what? Yeah,
what?
That's
ate pizza like 5 minutes ago.
That's about what I thought when I was reading it, because I'm like, I am not prepared for this giant battle you're jumping into right now, but okay. Cool. So yeah, look for that new novel. They've been doing that a lot. They've had several novels come out here lately, so they had a couple, not too... This is like the second Ravenloft base novel they have come out just in the past couple of years, so... Look forward to seeing more of that, and I look forward to finish reading it. And then this, okay, and I swear this is not made up. This is not an April Fool's early joke. This is real. I swear this is real. There is a Mr. Potato Head Beholder coming out. You heard me right, folks. A Mr. Potato Head Beholder. Does the world need a Mr. Potato Head Beholder?
Yes.
Did we though?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Look at that. It's going to include 10 eye stalks, various central eyes, multiple mouths, accessories, 25 books.
It's 3 inches in size,
from
so that's
Kids.
yeah.
Looks
It's
like it's a direct from WizKids or something.
Yep, like it's direct from WizKids.
Comes in a cool looking, family friendly but also monstrous box.
It's just weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there you go. You too. It's going to be later this year. They didn't give an exact release date on it, but yeah, like you said, you can have 10 eye stocks, so you can have fire, lightning. I would assume all the other effects that beholders can do. So, if you're running a tabletop game and you want a little fun beholder to throw down, you can pop this down and your party's going to go, what drugs are you on?
So it is not the regular size of a classic 80s style potato head.
Right. No, it's
only
3 inch.
Tall,
it's 3, yeah.
So you do need to be aware of that.
Yeah, the picture that I'm showing on the YouTube version right now is like, of course, blown up so you can see it. But yeah, it's a standard D&D mini, so it's going to be really tiny. Can you imagine?
Gosh, it's so good. It's so good.
Can you imagine trying to put the little eye stalks on a little 3-inch mini though? Those things are going to be tiny.
Sure, you're going to need a bag for it or something.
Oh yeah,
use pieces so you glue it together.
But
it comes in this cool little box and everything.
It does, yeah. The box that it's coming in is amazing. So, I mean, I might buy one just like to display, just to have. Like, I probably would never use it. I would just add it to all my other D&D nicks and knacks that I have. But
I would definitely make my party fight it. Are you kidding me? If this fits on a tabletop.
I mean, it will. Yeah, it's a standard WizKids mini, so you could definitely use it if you would want to. So.
Oh yeah, you see a beholder with a person atop.
What do you do?
You cast fire. Roll for initiative.
What do you do? But yeah, there you go. There's a link. If you want to pre-order this straight from WizKids, there's a link. It will eventually, I'm assuming, be on Amazon and all the other places. Just at the time I put that post up, it wasn't available anywhere else from WizKids. But they just announced this, so I'm sure by now it's up. So there you go. For those of you that wanted your Mr. Potato Head Beholder, your prayers have been answered. Let's jump on, see what's happening from the screen. this came out of nowhere, and I think it's amazing. But after 20-something years, Neverwinter Nights just got a brand new, officially sanctioned DLC.
Cool.
Which, who would have thought that would have ever happened? But yeah, it's called the Doom of Icewind Dale. This is for the Neverwinter Nights video game. Specifically, it's for the enhanced version that came out. They didn't say for sure, like, if you have the original and not the enhanced, I don't know if it'll run. I think it needs the enhanced, but anyway, this is just crazy, and it's 10 to 15 hours of gameplay. It's a pretty lengthy campaign. That you're getting 15 hours of DLC story here for a 20-year-old game. It's 14 new areas to explore with iconic Icewind Dale. So all of the iconic regions. 5 companions are going to join your party, and you're going to get 14 new monsters to battle as well. So this sounds amazing. And of course, you got to have a cool soundtrack. So there's a brand new soundtrack for it as well. This is available right now. You can go around Steam and get it. It's $9.99. It's 10% off. Actually, I guess that 10% off ended, so I don't know. Let me check, see what the price is real quick now. Actually, it's still $9.99, so I'm not sure. They said it was $9.99 on sale, but it's actually still $9.99, so there you go. If you want that, go over to Steam and get it. I might pick this up, because I haven't played Neverwinter Nights, and it's been a long time since I played Neverwinter Nights, but this is just awesome. And this was from a person that just loved Neverwinter Nights, and he actually somehow approached WotC and said, hey, can I do something with Icewind Dale for Neverwinter Nights and make it like an official thing? And they said yes. So this is actually officially sanctioned. This is not just some like homebrew mod that somebody put together. This is an officially sanctioned DLC for Neverwinter Nights 20 plus years later.
Neat.
So it is pretty cool news. Also in cool news, if you're an anime fan, if you're a Vampire Hunter D fan, which I don't know anybody in this room right now that is. Oh wait, that's me. The 40th anniversary, which I can't believe the 40th anniversary of Vampire Hunter D is coming up. But it's going to be in theaters April 9th, 10th, and 13th. They have announced they have enhanced it. They have upscaled it. They're doing a Dolby Atmos soundtrack for it. They've really restored it, and they use like the original 35 millimeter print for it, and they've upgraded it and stored it. So this is just amazing. It's playing in most theaters. I put a link over on DDO players in this article. You can click and see if it's playing near you. At first, it was only announced for Japan. This was like a Japan exclusive, and then like the outcry was like, well, we want it here in the States too, or we want it in Europe. So they worked it out to where now it's going to be everywhere. Unfortunately for me, the closest cinema for me is like 2 hours away, but I'm thinking about doing it. I'm like, to see Vampire Hunter D in the theater, heck yeah.
Huh. Wow. I have to admit, I have seen Vampire Hunter D.
I was going to ask you.
Sometime in the 90s.
Yep. That would be about right. I was going to ask.
I don't think I've ever seen it since. I can barely remember it, other than the iconic style and some specific frames of animation that you'll see, the silhouette and everything else that are super classic.
Yeah. So
amazing.
This is exciting. Yeah. So I just can't believe it's the 40th anniversary already. That just means that I'm getting old, is what that means. Because I was like, no, wait, Vampire Hunter D can't be 40 years. Oh, God, it is 40 years old. Also, with this, they also announced, but this unfortunately is only in Japan right now, and it's super expensive, but it's getting a remastered Blu-ray release as well. So if you're a big Vampire Hunter D fan, you want to get the 25th anniversary remastered DVD, here you go. But it's really...
There's something... Okay, so the Vampire Hunter D movie is very different from this Bloodlust DVD, correct?
No, just for some reason, when they released it on DVD and home video, they changed the title to Vampire Hunter D Bloodlust. I don't know why they did that. It's the same movie. They just added Bloodlust to the home video. I don't know if that was I don't know. I never understood why they did it. But yes, and once again, this is getting all the bells and whistles. It's going to have a Dolby Atmos soundtrack. But right now, as I said, unfortunately, it's only available in Japan. So to get it imported into the United States, cheapest place I found was Play Asia, and it's $110. And I'm like, ooh, I like Vampire Hunter D, but I don't know if I like Vampire Hunter D that much. I'm like,
hot dang.
I'm like,
looks like it's going to be playing at all three of the theaters that I usually go to.
Look close to you?
Yeah.
Oh, now see, mine's like 2 hours away is the closest one.
Yeah.
But
no, it's like a less than 10-minute drive.
Oh, awesome. You lucky person.
Awesome.
Well, you tell me, you better do that if you're only 10 minutes away from it. I would be disappointed if you didn't. Yeah, like I said, I got to drive. I'm pretty sure I'm going to do it too, but I have to drive like 2 hours to go see it. But so there you go for all you Vampire Hunter D fans. So our week in gaming, what the heck have we been doing in gaming? You probably haven't been doing much because you've had a week, sir.
Yeah, my week in gaming was I didn't get to game.
Yeah,
that was my week in gaming.
Yeah.
I worked all week. We were doing some transfers over for the other game side, and we'll be doing something similar on the Dungeons and Dragons online side later this year because we'll be bringing 64-bit servers to DDO as well. But we're in the process of, we just opened them on the Lord of the Rings online side and did free world character transfers that kicked off this week and overwhelmed the service and have kept us busy, as it were.
Right.
But things are moving. They're just moving slow, and we've had to do some things as a result of that. But what we're doing there will certainly teach us about what we can expect on the DDO side as well, and so we'll be in a position to hopefully make this a non-issue on the DDO side. So
one can hope, and that's related to Lotro just launched some 64-bit game worlds. Like we're right, correct? That's what I thought. And it's 2 servers. How many servers?
2 in the United States and 2 in Europe. And then we did already have 2 existing 64-bit servers, so 6 in total. 3 US, 3 Europe.
So your week in gaming was watching character transfers,
and trying to get messages out, and then going back and forth between the engineers and QA and trying to let them do work while not hounding them too bad, but also hounding them. You know, so
it's like, you know. But I didn't have anything that big, but I had a crazy week myself, so I did get to play a little bit last night. We did the Cruising with Drac over on Evil Beaker's stream. We always Twitch on Friday nights. We did Ravenloft. We ran the first part of Ravenloft, so...
I did get a little bit of anniversary stuff in.
Yeah.
That's what I've been doing. And
we also ran
all my stuff on all my accounts when we kicked off the anniversary over the past week or so. I've just been making sure I log in and just claim all that stuff. And so I've been doing that, setting that aside specifically.
So yeah, I didn't have a lot this week either. We currently have 10 supporters on our Patreon if you'd like to help support what we do here at DDO Players. And likewise, we have a sister site called Lotro Players. Same thing, just for Lotro. Simply go to our donations page. You can support Players Alliance Network. That is the network that hosts both DDO and Lotro Players. Your money is used exclusively for everything for the sites. So it's podcast hosting, website hosting. We pay for the live shows that we normally do. Anything to do with this sites that I'm crazy enough to run for both of these games, that's where your money goes. So we appreciate it very much. People have asked, hey, can I do that without doing Patreon every month? You certainly can. You just send me an email, drac@ddoplayers.com, and we can talk. And there's been a couple people that have done that, and I do appreciate that. We appreciate it because it's not cheap to do all this stuff. But we love it. It's a labor of love. We didn't get any reviews on any of the podcast hosting sites this week.
Are there ones in particular that matter? Like if someone is hearing this, because they probably hear you say this just about every
right.
Yep. So, and it's like, well, okay, well, fine, I'll leave a review. I've got 5 minutes. What should they do?
Basically any podcast app you use, whatever podcast app other than Spotify, because we're still not on Spotify and Spotify is making me mad. If anybody knows anybody that works at Spotify, get them in touch with me, because I still can't get the show on Spotify. I don't know why. It still says our RSS feed is not correct, but every other podcatcher in the world likes our RSS feed, so I don't know. Anyway, any app you're on, just leave a review and let me know. It helps, because what that does is it helps push the show on that app, and then the more reviews you get, the more it pushes it. But and I know a lot of people keep asking, hey, I only use Spotify, I want to listen on Spotify. I know, I'm working on it, but Spotify has been no help to me, so I don't know. If anybody knows anybody that knows anything about RSS feeds, have them get in touch with me, because I am thankful
that it just worked back when I was doing DDO cast.
I am at a loss.
The launcher is the one the engineers tell me to use.
Yep.
So,
but like I said, every other podcast app out there, even like Amazon, when Amazon started letting podcasts go on, I went on and put the RSS feed in, and boom, the podcast was there. Spotify, it's like, nope, that is not a correct RSS feed. And I'm like, it works everywhere else. And I looked to see how Spotify wanted it, put in the RSS feed, and everything is correct. So I don't know. So working on the Spotify issue. We didn't have any featured comments or emails this week. Email us at podcast@ddoplayers.com if you'd like to email us, or just reply to either the post on DDO Players or the YouTube, and we'll talk about your comment. That's just about going to wrap up the show, but I wanted to take a little time to do some self-promotion, because, hey, it's my show. I can do what I want, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you and I are doing a thing, aren't we?
Yeah, we're doing a podcast about vinyl records. So if you're into vinyl records, maybe you want to check out the podcast. It's called the Record Players Podcast. You can find it on YouTube and TikTok and Facebook as well.
And we just recorded episode 5, actually, and that's starting to come out slowly here. And some insider baseball on the show. Poor you are the person that edits all of the stuff, and and you do a heck of a job, especially when there's some tech issues, which there has been here lately. But you do an amazing job. So thank you for all of the hard work that you do to make us look awesome on this podcast.
Oh, it's fun. I do it for fun, and I do it to keep my skills up and to get that practice in a non-stressful environment. Not that it isn't stressful when you actually delete all your video. But I'm just saying, because yes, I did do that. But like in general, if I'm live streaming for the company here for Dungeons and Dragons Online, it's a little different than if I'm recording a podcast with a friend, about records and stuff, right? So it's nice to be able to flex your muscles and just kind of have some fun with it as well. And we get an opportunity to do that on the show, and so it's been going really well, and it's fun. Yeah, we do, and people seem to like it. So yeah, it's fun, and we're both old radio guys, and we just love music, and we love talking about music. So, and we've been talking about doing this for a long time. I'm glad that we finally got off of our butts and just started doing it. Yeah. And I'm not exactly sure how the idea even started, but we were just talking one time, and we're like, because you and I always talk about music all the time anyway, and then we're like, why don't we just do a podcast about this? And then, it just makes sense. It just makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, and like I said, you got your vinyl. Normally on that show, I have my vinyl behind me. Well, I got some cassettes behind me though, right there. If people have been trying to figure out like what is that, I'm like, that is some of my cassettes. But
I threw away most of my cassettes back in the day because they had gotten kind of torn apart and just out and such, or at least in my mind.
I've had to replace a lot.
Now in hindsight, I still kind of wish I had them. Because it's just like I used to have a gold rack like that. Now I don't. I kind of wish I had them back now.
I have some of my originals, but a lot of that, and then I have another rack here full, and a lot of those are ones that I've had to re-get because, like, let's just be honest, cassettes wasn't the greatest format in the world. They weren't that great, but
I had a bunch of those like yellow and pink and blue Memorex color 90s ones. Those were terrible.
Oh yeah, they were
awesome.
Yeah, they were. So, see, this is what you get on the record players right here. We start talking about stuff and then we go off on tangents, and so yeah. But yeah, we're said episode 5 slowly starting to release. I will put a link into the show notes here if you want to go check that out. Hear about all of our records and the crazy world of record collecting, because it's crazy but fun. Let's wrap this up then. Tell us where they can follow DDO, follow you if they want to, all the good pertinent informations.
We have an official Dungeons & Dragons online Discord, so I will get a link to that by going to the DDO forums. Just search for DDO Discord, you'll find an invite link and join us. In the near future, I'm going to have it linked straight to our main website, which is DDO.com. You'll see that Discord link.
Okay.
I have to do the work here, I just haven't gotten around to it yet.
Right.
But that'll be up there in the near future. And then the forums.ddo.com is great. We're on Twitter and Facebook as well. And then also in the coming months, we'll be expanding out to TikTok and Blue Sky, and we'll give Threads another go as well. So
I kind of gave up on Threads, but I might go back to Threads too.
I jumped early on and
I did too.
See a lot of activity,
right?
So we kind of faded away. But we've been encouraged to give it another shot.
It seems to be gaining more traction again. Because I did too. I jumped on right at the beginning of it, and it was good for a little while, and then like my Threads I posted about the podcast here just finally they just kind of all died, and then but now people are like, hey, why aren't you posting on Threads anymore? And I'm like, okay, same. So there you go. All right, so that is going to wrap it up. We do, as I said, have 2 shows. We have this here show, DDO Players News. This records various times. We are usually live. Sometimes it's recorded. It just kind of depends on my schedule. I have a weird work schedule anymore, so don't have a set date and time for that. Lotro Players News records Saturdays at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. They might be moving to Sundays, though, but if you play Lotro, you want to give that show a listen. They talk about, it's basically this show, but Lotro, and Pineleaf, who is normally on this show, is the host on there, and he is like Mr. Lotro. He's been playing Lotro forever, and like sometimes Pineleaf will get going talking about Lotro, and I'm just like, it goes over my head, and I'm like, I have no idea what you just said.
They're transferring to a new day of the week.
But yeah, maybe Sundays, they said. So that is kind of in limbo, so stay tuned for that. But you can get to our live shows when we are live at ddoplayers.com/live. Or if you're on the Lotro Players news site, which is lotroplayers.com, it's lotroplayers.com/live. See how I did that? I made it easy for you to find the live show, no matter which show you listen to. So that is going to do it. Anything else you want to say before we wrap it up?
Thank you so much for listening, and thank you for being with us for however much of these 19 years that you've been with us.
Yeah, and we appreciate you bringing us a game for 19 years. So thanks to Standing Stone, and tell all the devs that we all say a big thumbs up, and thanks for that too. And thank you for coming on, taking some of your Saturday night away from me. And like I said, you had a crazy busy week. I kind of felt bad because I didn't realize what was going on with you until after I asked you to come on, and then it's like, oh God.
It just happens sometimes. We've been just get busy sometimes, but then it'll be fine. And everything's cooking along, so I was happy to be able to be here.
All right. Well, we always appreciate it. Until next time, I'll leave you with what I always do. I sure hope the RNG is a lot kinder to you than it always is to me.